We're just a horrible team. I think that's the only place we can start. We are an absolute mess. 7 games into the season, ladies and gentlemen, and Man United have lost 3-0 at home 2 separate times. 7 games into a league campaign, and we've already lost at home 3-0 twice. I mean, look, you don't have to be a football expert to kind of know that's not a good sign. Already, your season's not off to a great start if that's the case. United currently 12th. Their goal difference at the moment reads as follows. -3. Behind the likes of Brentford, behind the likes of Nottingham Forest, behind the likes of Brighton, behind the likes of Fulham, and of course behind the likes of Spurs, who have absolutely ridiculed United today. And more importantly than that, Ange Postecoglou has embarrassed Erik ten Hag today. Because you can look at the teams, right? And Spurs were the much better team today. Honestly, chat, and anyone watching this on YouTube later on, this game could have genuinely been 6 or 7 in favor of in favor of Spurs. Definitely not in favor of United. Spurs on a different day, if Heung-min Son was playing in that game, Spurs would have scored 6 or 7. Quite frankly, it's only down to how bad Timo Werner is in front of goal in particular that Spurs did not hit 6 or 7 today. And yes, Spurs in every single facet of the game were better. Romero and Van de Ven were imperious. The fullbacks were incredible. Maddison and Bentancur played the game of their lives. Honestly, James Maddison, at times, I was comparing him to Iniesta in terms of how comfortable and how smooth he was running the entire show from midfield. Bentancur couldn't get near him. And even wingers that I, at the start of the game, was almost ridiculing, saying they don't really scare me in terms of how good they are as players, and Brennan Johnson and Werner. I didn't think either of them were that great, and yet they still got the better of Mazraoui and still got the better of Diogo Dalot. And Dominic Solanke got away with his goal. So in almost every single facet, Spurs were the much much better team than United. But I'm sorry, what this ultimately comes down to, right? And I don't care how many times I have to say it, right? I read the comments on YouTube. I see my mentions on Twitter sometimes. You're too negative. Give it time. It's improving. Did you not see the first half against Palace? Oh, but we beat Barnsley by 7-0. I'm sorry to tell you guys this. I'm never going to stop saying it until the day he goes. This manager is not good enough. It's as simple as that. And look, it may take you another game to see it. You might not see it until Villa from 2 games. Hell, it might take you to the end of this season again to see it. But eventually you will see it. Eventually it will become too obvious. I hope that at this point, most of you guys can actually see what I'm trying to explain to you guys. It took me 5 games into last year to see that there was a huge problem with this manager. But look, we all learn at different paces. No disrespect. For some, it takes longer to get to the final destination. But at the end of the day, you will get to that same final destination. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Surely at this point, you guys are watching Man United week in, week out, and it doesn't matter who the manager is. They are giving Erik ten Hag a run for his money. And today it's Ange Postecoglou, a manager that most of the league have been ridiculing for the last few weeks, saying that he's a poser, saying that he chats shit in his interviews, saying that he's too idealistic, saying that Spurs are never going to get anywhere with him. And now look, I don't agree with a lot of that, but even if that is true, it doesn't escape the fact that yet again, in my opinion, the 3rd game in a row now, because at home, at Spurs' ground last year, they ridiculed us. At Old Trafford, I think they were the better team than us. And yet again today, they have embarrassed us. And yet again, it's Ange Postecoglou embarrassing Erik ten Hag. Ladies and gentlemen, it's over. Even if they don't sack him after this game, it's coming. If it's not this week, it'll be next week. If it's not the next week, it'll be the week after that. It's coming. This job is untenable for Erik ten Hag. There is not a chance that he's able to turn things around. Because quite simply, how can he turn things around? How? He spent hundreds of millions of pounds building the squad in his image. United finished the game today with 8 players signed by Erik ten Hag. One of them still hasn't even seen the pitch. I'm sure he would have been on the pitch today as well too. You can't use the excuse anymore that this is a team that Ten Hag inherited from Oli, or that the Glazers haven't done a good job recruiting for him, or that no manager can work under this structure. All those excuses went out the window the minute Ineos came in through the door, and the minute they yet again backed him with another transfer window. All those excuses that people wanted to throw at Erik ten Hag's feet to give him a lifeline, to give him some benefit of the doubt, they no longer exist. Even his biggest supporters are hiding away now because this is becoming an unexcusable job that he's having. It's unexcusable what we're watching. 3 years into his project, and still Tottenham, who have been the laughing stock of the season. A few weeks ago, people were just taking the piss out of them against Arsenal. Came to Old Trafford, and before the red card, because I know There are going to be people, and I'm sure the manager is one of them, this guy who will never, ever, ever take responsibility for United's performances. I'm sure today the excuse will be Bruno Fernandes' red card changed the game. I'm sorry, anybody who watched those games with two working, functioning 2020 eyes will tell you that United were out of that game long before Bruno Fernandes' red card. 3 minutes. If I was going to say 5 minutes, 5 minutes is giving us some leeway. 3 minutes is all it took for Mickey van de Ven to expose how open United are in the center of the pitch. Ran entirely through our midfield like Gravenberch did a few weeks ago. Like FC Twente's player did midweek. Like he did this week. And like I'm sure Amadou Onana will do the week after that. When we play Manchester City, I'm sure De Bruyne will do the same. I'm sure Declan Rice will do the same. It's a habit. And when it's a habit, when you see repetitiveness, in a team's flaws, it can no longer just be a one-off. There are fundamental holes in the way this team plays and defends. Van de Ven is the latest to expose it. Ran directly down the center of our team. Plays this pass in. I have no idea where Dalot is. I have no idea where Lisandro is. To Brennan Johnson, who scores the easiest goal of his career. And from there, honestly, the rest of the game, it's easy to predict. You know United are never getting back into it. And genuinely, right, I'm telling you, 3-0 flatters us. 3-0 flatters us today. Spurs could have scored 6 or 7. And I feel for some of these players, right? Honestly, right? I don't think we have a great team, but they are not as bad as what's on display these last few weeks, man. Honestly, like you look at this team, how much money has been invested, the status of some of these players. It's not a team that should be getting destroyed by Spurs, right? I mean, it's hard for me to say what I'm about to say, but I still believe it. I don't think United, when you compare their squad to Spurs' squad, there are worlds of differences between the qualities overall of the squads. I really believe that. I look at Spurs today, right? They're popping us off the park with, again, no disrespect to these players, but Kulusevski, Brennan Johnson, and Timo Werner. Those aren't world beaters. They're not. They're not world beaters. Maddison and Bentancur are good midfielders. They're not world beaters. And yet, against us, they look like 2011 Barcelona. Maddison, I can't tell you the amount of times I watched this guy today just prance around our midfield. Caress, like, bro, it looked like he was Iniesta today out there, man. And it's only against us that these kinds of performances happen. Maddison's a good player, maybe even a great player. We made him look elite today. If I talk about some of United's players, though, I say I feel for some of them. Some of them, though, are just not up to the standard, right? Bruno Fernandes. Oh my God. Oh my God. Say what you want about the red card, right? I'm sure a lot of people are going to come out and say it's a harsh red card. And for the most part, I agree. It's not a stonewall red. But also, when I look at it, it's hard to argue as well, too, that the referee doesn't have a point when he gives him a red card. Because, no, he doesn't completely make contact with Maddison, but the intent to kind of lash out at him is definitely there. And at the end of the day, you got to think about it. Are you giving a red card for the intent or for the execution of the intent? Like, if you try to basically smash your leg into somebody's shin, but you miss, is that now all of a sudden not a foul? Are you not all of a sudden gonna book him? It's the intent behind it. So I think it's a bit harsh, but to be honest with you, I don't think there's much room for argument there. Like there is clearly an intent to lash out and to stop Maddison in his tracks. But even before the red card, right? Because the red card is going to give him a lifeline. I know what people are going to say. I know what Ten Hag is going to say. He was absolutely awful before the red card, guys. He was absolutely awful, and he's been awful this entire season. Bruno Fernandes has had a lousy start to the campaign. And we know with Bruno, right? I'm going to say exactly what I said after the Palace game. He's never been an efficient player. He's never been a player that is particularly he's not completing 90% pass accuracy every single week. We get that. But the thing with Bruno Fernandes is, at least in the past, he's a player that contains a bit of X factor to him. He can kind of make moments out of nothing. His final pass is more often than not very on point. But the issue is, when this season Bruno's final ball isn't there, you're left with a player that loses the ball almost every single time, and he can't make up for it by playing those killer passes that lead to goals or lead to chances created. You're left with a player that's just losing the ball every 20 seconds, bro. And it's not a one-off game. It's not a one-off game here. All season, we've been seeing this. Manuel Ugarte. Boy, a lot of people owe me apologies on this one. And this isn't even me saying, oh, Ugarte, sell him immediately, blah, blah, blah. I just never rated the guy that highly. Like, he has his uses. Like I said, he's a high-volume ball winner. He's a destroyer. But guys, there isn't a single elite team on the planet that would have signed Manuel Ugarte. Because elite teams don't deploy Manuel Ugartes in their midfield. At the end of the day, guys, we can talk about athletes, we can talk about fitness, we can talk about legs, all that stuff. At the end of the day, football games will always be decided on the best footballers. They will. And the best football teams don't deploy Manuel Ugartes in their team. Real Madrid would not deploy a Manuel Ugarte. And before you bring up Casemiro, I said it in that video when I was talking about Ugarte. Is anybody that sure that Ugarte is better than Casemiro? Is anybody positive about that? Because as much as we cuss out Casemiro, I think he's finished. Ugarte doesn't look any better than Casemiro. He doesn't look any better than Casemiro. And on the ball, I'm sorry, he's not capable of playing half the passes Casemiro is over the top or these long diagonals. He's not. I'm not confident Ugarte is better than Casemiro. I'm not. And he's 6 years younger than him, supposed to be fitter. He looks miles off of it. Ugarte hasn't looked good or convincing in a single cameo for Man United this year. And I'm here to tell you right now, I don't even blame him. How about that? I don't even blame him, because anybody who's watched Ugarte with a pair of working eyes will know what kind of player he is and know that to be a good football team, you have to fit into the puzzle. You looked at United's struggles in midfield. They struggle holding onto the ball. They struggle kind of coming out of the first phase and building up correctly. They struggle at receiving balls on the half turn in midfield and playing. So why would your solution to that be Manuel Ugarte, who doesn't thrive at any of those situations that I just named? He can't play on the half turn. He receives the ball. You pass it to him. This is how Ugarte plays. And again, I'm not blaming him. It's just the kind of player he is. Anybody who properly scouted the guy would know what kind of player he is. He receives the ball facing his back to goal. He then tries turning out of that situation. Bro, I'm sorry. Any competent press is going to expose that. They know that the minute he receives the ball, he's facing his own goal. Press him. He doesn't do well under pressure. The top holding midfielders, the top, double pivot players that you look at in world football, they receive the ball, A, already know what's happening behind them, and B, kind of positioning themselves as well too and timing it so that they can receive the ball on the half turn and get play going. Ugarte doesn't do that, and why I'm stressing, he would not start as a number 6 for Arsenal. He would not start as a number 6 for Manchester City. Liverpool, Chad, we're looking for a defensive midfielder all summer long. They were begging for it. They were on their knees for it. They didn't go after Ugarte for a single second of the transfer window. Now, is that more because Liverpool don't have a good scouting team? They don't have a good recruitment team? Or is it because they identified that Ugarte would drown under Arne Slot's system? I'm telling you right now, it's the latter. And it's the same problem United are having right now. Mark my words. In 12 months' time, by the time we're in next summer, probably under a new manager, by the way, which we'll get into, Manuel Ugarte will not be the guy that Man United fans want starting their midfield. I promise you this. United's next manager will look after another midfielder. They'll look for another DM. This guy's not the long-term solution there, bro. Ten Hag, his decision today to start with Garnacho and Rashford, when we have seen time and time again that the two of them should not be starting games together. It's like a carbon copy of the Liverpool game. It genuinely is a carbon copy of the Liverpool game. We saw from the start that these two guys are impact players. They're moments players. But Chet, to have moments in a game, you at least have to get the platform, the base of your team correct. It's like for me, I always compare it to building a house, right? To build a house, you can have the nicest flat screen TV. These days they're curved, right? Curved 4K TVs. You can have the craziest fridge. You can have a beautiful carpet, dazzling lights from IKEA, let's say. But if you don't have the foundation of your house already set, it doesn't matter how many nice moments and nice furniture and nice little accessories that you have. The house will always collapse. And the problem with United and the problem with Erik ten Hag is he starts off by adding these moments players, but the foundation of the team is already rotten. This is why for me, when I saw Ugarte and I saw Garnacho starting from the front, from the very first minute, I knew from the beginning, United has no intent on controlling this game. They have no intent on at least trying to keep the ball a little. It's going to be all win the ball back, play in behind. And lo and behold, that's what it was. The only time United ever threatened Spurs was when they just played those quick balls over the top, hoping Garnacho and hoping Rashford could create a moment. And I think one time Rashford went in behind and really should have created something. Outside of that, boy, there's nothing in that game. There's nothing in it for United. Half chances. Genuinely half chances. For me, when you look at how Eriksen and Ahmad have played in the last few weeks, the fact that he left them out of a game of this magnitude is an absolute disgrace. I'll say it before, I'll say it again. Ahmad is a must start in this team. And it's not because I think he's the best player in the world. It's because in this team, he has to be starting games. And you've seen even with Eriksen, United are a better footballing team when Eriksen's on the pitch. As many issues as he has in his fitness, in his legs, his defensive capabilities, when he plays, United keep the ball better. We've seen it 3 games in a row now. Against Crystal Palace, against Southampton, against 4 games even. Barnsley, against Twente. When he plays, United keep the ball better. So why, in one of our biggest games of the season, when you need to keep the ball at home, he's on the bench. Ahmad's on the bench. I can't get behind this manager, man. Porto next, away. Villa away next. Does anybody genuinely believe United are going to win either of those games? I don't. I don't think United will win one of those games. I thought their best chance to actually get a point from any of these 3 was this game against Spurs. I don't think United beats... bro, I'm positive, convinced United will not beat Villa. That, I would put my entire mortgage on it. United will not get a win against Villa at Villa Park. Onana, Rodgers, and Tielemans are going to go rampant. They're going to run rampant on United's midfield. And Porto, you saw the way Arsenal struggled at the Dragao last year. Arsenal are a miles better team than United. United are struggling at that stadium as well too, man. And I'll finish this off by saying this, right? Because I'm tired of repeating myself. It's just different game, same story. But how long are we going to sit here and accept this? How long? By the way, right? There's a certain section of the United's fan base, and I hate to say this, but you guys deserve this. You guys deserve this. Because United last year had their worst season ever. They finished 8th place. They were smashed by almost every single team they played against last year. Humiliated and exited the Champions League group stage at the first time of asking. And because Erik Ten Hag won a cup while finishing 8th, the fan base told Ineos, if you guys don't give Ten Hag another season, I'm already Ineos out. You're not a real United fan if you don't back this manager. Ten Hag deserves another chance. I hate to say it, but you guys deserve this. You guys deserve this because that was gaslighting of the highest proportion. To pretend that the entirety of last season that we watched with our eyes are working, functional, 2020 vision, to pretend like none of that mattered. None of that was an accurate description of the manager because he won a few games en route to a cup, which congratulations, we gave you credit for the cup. But no big team, no elite football club has ever been judged on their cup form over their league form. No manager ever. That was the reason why if you didn't back Ten Hag after last season, you weren't a real United fan. And if Ineos didn't back him, they needed to leave the club. Shame on you. Shame on you. Because now we're in a situation, guys, where even if we fire Erik Ten Hag, I'm sorry, the season might already be a waste. It might already be unsalvageable. Because if you fire Ten Hag, who do you go for? Ruud van Nistelrooy will inevitably be he'll inevitably be the interim manager. Let's see how that goes. But who do you go for? They interviewed De Zerbi over the summer. He's no longer there. He's doing things at Marseille. Kieran McKenna, he's not leaving Ipswich 7 games of the season. Nagelsmann is the Germany manager for another 2 years. Thomas Tuchel, is there any guarantee that if you go back in for him, he's going to change his mind and decide to come this time? Is there any guarantee? Who knows? Who knows where we go from here? Honestly, what's the continuation plan? What's the succession plan for Erik Ten Hag? But hey, like I said, you guys got what you wanted. For you guys, seeing Erik Ten Hag be given another year was more important than honestly looking at the situation objectively and clearly viewing a manager that was out of his depth. Ten Hag got schooled by almost every single manager he faced last year. Almost every single one of them. But because of a few games in the cup and because you guys were so determined to see, oh, we need to break the cycle. We need to give a manager another chance. This is what I don't understand about football fans, right? We're so quick to lambast players and to say players aren't good enough and we need to sell this player and this player is crap, excuse me. We all say that. Casemiro, we've said it for a year and a half. Varane, people were saying that about Varane. We were saying that about Wan-Bissaka. We were saying that about Martial. It's easy for us to say players aren't good enough. But the minute you even dare question a manager, that's where your legitimacy as a football fan is questioned. That's when it comes into disrepute. Questioning the manager is an issue, but questioning a player isn't. At the end of the day, they're all employees. They'll all be here today, gone tomorrow. But the way that United fans have gaslit others and made excuses and backed this guy with no clear logical reasoning has been an absolute disgrace. Honestly, I don't know where we go from here. Honestly, I genuinely don't. Raf says, it's my belief that Ten Hag only had so much support because of how late he came in the post-Sir Alex Ferguson manager merry-go-round. If he came in after Moyes or Jose, not a chance would people be patient. Bro, it's because he speaks a better game than he actually manages, bro. Honestly, I dare this guy to talk to us at the press conference today about 2 trophies. I'm the most successful team after Manchester City. That's bullshit, bro. No one believes this stuff anymore, man. Honestly, I've never seen an elite team judged on their cup runs more than their league form. It's a new theory to me. I've never seen it before. I told people, by the way, I would take Ange Postecoglou at Man United. I got laughed at for that. I'd take Ange Postecoglou over Ten Hag, excuse me. Tottenham and Liverpool have now both scored more goals than Man United at Old Trafford in the Premier League this season. 1 goal, and we are approaching October at Old Trafford. Bro, this club is becoming a laughingstock. Rapidly, it's becoming a laughingstock, honestly. And I'm sure there's going to be people looking at this reaction, by the way. I can already read the comments right now. How is he a United fan? How is he laughing? How is he smiling? First of all, I'll say this. If you don't laugh, you'll cry. Secondly, I'm just fed up, man. I honestly feel numb to United losing these days. Honestly, it really does nothing for me anymore. Like, And that's probably the worst place you can ever get to as a fan. Once the results actually stop affecting you, that's when you know shit has got really, really bad. Because now I'm accustomed. This doesn't mean anything to me anymore, bro. Losing 3-0 to Spurs at home, it's just another result. That's how you know shit has got this bad. I'd be acting like an idiot if I came on here saying, this is a disgrace. This is unacceptable. How could this happen? I'd look like an idiot if I did that. Because at this point, how could you not see this coming? We've seen it so many times this season. Like you guys want me to be fake mad. You guys want me to like put on a fake show. Nah, man, it's not happening for me, bro. It's not happening for me. I'm good. Respectfully, we don't accept your statement. We don't accept your statement. Take it back. We don't want it. We don't accept it, man. Stay on that side, bro. Stay on that side. Stay on that side. This is the same guy who told me, by the way, I couldn't celebrate Man United wins because of my stance on Erik ten Hag. This guy told me, don't celebrate Man United wins. Don't do it because I didn't rate Erik ten Hag. This is how far this fan base has gone. That if you don't back the manager of your football club, you're not a football fan. You're not a fan of that club. That's how bad shit has gotten at Man United. That now Erik ten Hag is viewed as the ultimate barometer whether you support this club or not. So therefore, no, we don't accept this, Liban. Sorry. Go down with the storm. Go down with the ship. Good. As much as I don't want the club to sack Ten Hag, I genuinely cannot see how this turns this around. Good. Yeah, no, don't want him to sack. This guy is so deep. And Liban is one of many, by the way. There's a lot of United fans who are like Liban. These guys are so deep into this Erik ten Hag thing. Why would you not want the club to sack Erik ten Hag? We are 12th. We have -3 goal difference, and we're in his 3rd season. What is the benefit in us keeping Erik ten Hag? Guys, it doesn't make you a better Man United fan if you blindly support whoever is the manager. It doesn't make you a better fan. You are not a better fan than me because you want Erik ten Hag to stay at the club. No, that's not how it works. As a Man United fan, how can you genuinely watch the shit that we're watching every single week and say, I still want him to be at the club? I don't want him to get sacked. Where's the line? Where's the drawing point? What's the boiling point for you? What will it take for you to look at the situation and say, nah, he's got to go? Seriously. A guy, and by the way, in Liban, who has consistently tweeted, Ange Watch. If you guys just look up on Twitter, Ange Watch on Liban's Twitter, I'm sure you can find 5 or 6 tweets, bro. This is a guy that doesn't rate Ange whatsoever. He's been critical of him his entire tenure at the club. And there are things to be critical about Ange. But Ange outclasses Ten Hag every single time the two face off. Ange is undoubtedly a better manager than Ten Hag. I'm sorry, for me, it's not even close. He's a better speaker. He's a better tactician. He's a better in-game tweaker. He sets his team up better. His teams build up better. His teams create more chances with half the attacking talent on the pitch. It's not even a conversation, bro. How could you possibly consider yourself a football fan that understands the game and look at both sets of managers and genuinely believe in your heart of heart that Ten Hag is a better manager than Ange? I'm sorry, it's baffling to me. Look, I understand tribalism and I understand clowning your rivals or whatever. But when your own kitchen is in flames, don't go laughing at your neighbors because their lawn isn't mowed. That's my analogy for today. Laughing because Arsenal conceded a last-minute equalizer against Manchester City. I just wanted to come and do the interview and be myself because my teammates deserve that for what they have done in the game playing with one man less. I have to appreciate all the effort my teammates have done. Whatever, man. It's too much talk from these guys, bro. It's too much talk. You've been watching Man United longer than me. Can you remember a time where we looked so impotent going forward? We're so lost up front. Bar last season, like you mean under a different manager? No, I can't. Even maybe LVG. Second season, LVG was bad. Second season, LVG was very, very bad. But Moyes, we were better offensively than this. Defensively, we were horrible under Moyes. But offensively, we were better. Oli, without you don't even have to get into that. Mourinho for sure. Van Gaal, his second season, I think we went on a whole month without scoring a goal. But this is up there. This is really, really up there. And we have more attacking talent under Ten Hag, I would say, than we did under LVG in that second season. I remember at the end of Mourinho, we complained about the exact same thing. The thing is, that was at the end of Mourinho. The problem with Ten Hag is all 3 seasons we've been a bad team in front of goal. We haven't scored more than 60 goals in a season under Ten Hag, bro. 60 goals. That's not that much. Gary Neville at Valencia, 28 games, 11 losses, 39 goals, 38 goals conceded. Ten Hag, last 28 games, 13 losses, 35 goals, 45 goals conceded. Fucking hell. Worst manager ever. Mr. Era has come to an end. Well, there's an era coming to an end, guys. That I can tell you. Ten Hag era is coming to an end.